A decorated Air Force veteran is dead after a confrontation with police in his own Florida apartment. Was it a tragic misunderstanding or a deadly mistake? Roger Fortson, a U.S. airman who served his country bravely, is now gone. Reports paint him as a hero, a special operations gunner who flew combat missions. The shooting has sparked outrage. The family's lawyer claims police entered the wrong apartment, while officials say they identified themselves properly. One crucial detail: Fortson was reportedly armed when he opened the door. Did this escalate the situation? Many questions remain. Why was Fortson armed? How did the interaction with police unfold? A full investigation is underway. Stationed at Hurlburt Field, Fortson's death has sparked an investigation with the release of dispatch calls offering some insight into the events.
Physical in progress. Shot fired. Suspect down. Multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Blackmail.
Blackmail, multiple gunshot wounds to the chest.
Gunshot wounds in the chest, one exit wound. Contact 6 gunshot wounds.
However, key questions remain about what initially led deputies to Fortson's apartment. Adding to the confusion, Fortson's family has secured legal representation from a prominent civil rights attorney, raising concerns that deputies may have responded to the wrong address. Just 6 minutes after responding to a call,
What's going on? I'm not sure. I just was told to let her know if you guys come by, so I'm going to give her a quick call. So there was a fight going on or something? I was not ready for that. Yes, sir. Are they fighting or something?
Saying that it happens frequently.
Okay.
But this time it sounded like it was getting out of hand.
Okay, which store?
I'm not sure. 2 weeks ago, I was walking by their apartment basically on this side, and I was hearing someone yelling, "Shut the f*** up," and the B word on the other side. I just snapped.
Which room is it?
1401.
1401, okay.
But the girl sounded scared, the one that called.
We stand up there and direct the deputy that's coming to this area?
It's not, you're going to go up to the fourth floor, and it's going to be on this side.
Gotcha.
Okaloosa County deputies shot and killed 23-year-old Airman Roger Fortson in his apartment. Fortson, a decorated member of the Air Force's 4th Special Operations Squadron since 2019, was allegedly armed when he answered a knock at the door. The sheriff's office claims the deputy acted in self-defense after identifying himself and encountering a weapon. However, the Fortson family disputes this narrative. Represented by renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump, they allege Roger was alone in his apartment when a knock came with no response. Minutes later, a forceful knock with no identification was followed by shots as Roger, according to Crump, retrieved his firearm while returning to the living room. Witnesses, Crump claims, believe police entered the wrong apartment.
He shot him. My baby was shot up.
He was shot 6 times. When you think about the people who we want to have guns in America, he is Exhibit A. I mean, he was trained to use a firearm. He's a military trained officer. They thought he was a bad guy, but he was a good guy. I mean, he was a great guy. He was an exceptional guy. They shot a good guy.
Here in Okaloosa County, we pride ourselves and our commitment to transparency and accountability. These investigations take time, but I want to assure you that we are not hiding, covering up, or taking action that would result in a rush to judgment of Mr. Fortson or our deputy.
NAACP President Sabu Williams urges the release of body camera footage for public transparency into the shooting.
I'm just concerned as to what happened and why it happened and how it happened. We've been told that the investigation has been turned over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and so we're going to remain engaged to the outcome of that investigation. And this one tells me that there may be a little bit more to it than meets the eye right now. We certainly share our grievances with not only with his family, but even with his coworkers and friends that he knew here in the community. We have been very much involved, and we've spoken with base commanders and other officials here in our community, to include our sheriff's office.
Keith Taylor, a former NYPD sergeant and assistant commissioner of the NYC Department of Corrections, and current adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, provides insight into the case.
He has his gun in his possession for the protection of himself and his family. And to have this interaction with the police that ends up with this incredible misunderstanding that results in his loss of life, that is something that investigators are going to be looking at closely to see where things went wrong. How did it get to the point where you had an armed individual inside the home and an armed individual outside the home?
Given Fortson's employment with the U.S. government and his legal right to possess a firearm, Taylor finds the allegations troubling. A former NYPD sergeant sheds light on the dangers of such encounters. He emphasizes the importance of clear procedures to prevent tragedies. He highlights the tragic misunderstanding between an armed individual inside the home and law enforcement outside.
One of the things that really needs to be examined when agencies are looking at their policies to make them less likely to have these kinds of fatal mistakes is to examine how they confirm that the apartment or the house that they are about to do that search warrant in is the correct one.
This raises questions about how such encounters escalate to fatal outcomes and warrants a thorough investigation. Taylor draws parallels to cases like Breonna Taylor's, stressing the importance of police procedures in ensuring accurate identification of locations during operations, which could prevent unnecessary tragedies. Confirming the correct address before executing warrants can mitigate risks and potentially save lives. Taylor emphasizes the need for law enforcement agencies to review their protocols to avoid similar incidents involving lawful gun owners defending their homes.
Verifying that you have the correct place. So it really requires that agencies examine closely how their officers are responding, how they are able to determine that they are responding to the right place, and how they can deconflict with any lawful gun owners in their homes that are defending their residences.
The investigation will dig deeper, searching for answers for Fortson's family. Transparency and accountability are key. This incident raises national concerns about police procedures and how to avoid similar tragedies. Can collaboration lead to better outcomes? Stay tuned. As details emerge, we'll bring you the latest on this developing story. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we delve into a somber tale. Tragedy strikes a decorated Air Force veteran. Senior Airman Roger Fortson is dead after a confrontation with police inside his own Florida apartment. Was it a heartbreaking misunderstanding or a deadly police error? The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office just released body camera footage, offering a glimpse into this confusing incident. But with outrage simmering and conflicting stories swirling, one thing's clear. A full investigation is needed. We'll dive deep into the details, analyze the body cam footage, and separate fact from fiction. Join us as we try to understand what truly happened to Roger Fortson. This incident has sparked outrage and confusion, with conflicting narratives demanding a thorough investigation. The tragic shooting of Airman Roger Fortson in his own apartment has brought attention to the crucial moments before the incident. Details are emerging that shed light on Fortson's actions leading up to the encounter. He was aware of law enforcement presence at his door. This suggests he likely heard the officers announcing themselves or saw them through a peephole. Officers claim Fortson was armed upon opening the door. While Fortson's right to possess a firearm in his home is undisputed, the rapid use of lethal force by the deputy raises concerns. Effective law enforcement hinges on open communication and collaboration. This framework outlines a structure to foster a national dialogue between various law enforcement agencies and stakeholders, aiming to create a more unified and efficient system. Representatives from federal, state, and local police departments, sheriff's offices, and specialized units are involved in this case, creating grant programs that incentivize collaboration between law enforcement agencies and community groups on crime prevention initiatives. Eric Aiden, the sheriff of Okaloosa County, shared his deepest condolences to the family and offered some details about the tragic incident. While expressing his grief, Eric also provided an explanation of the events that led to the loss.
I'm Eric Aiden. I'm the sheriff of Okaloosa County with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. A few moments ago, I personally met with Mrs. Fortson and the Fortson family, extended my deepest condolences to them, and this result is one we never hoped to encounter, and I'm also thinking about our team here and the deputy involved in the tragic event. I'm here this afternoon to further assure Ms. Fortson's family, our dedicated team, and community we serve, and the broader public that we are doing what we can to ensure the facts of this case are fully understood. To that end, I've asked the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to handle the criminal investigation that is required under these circumstances. It is important to note that while this is a criminal investigation, no determination has been made as to whether the deputy's actions were justified or not. Here in Okaloosa County, we pride ourselves in our commitment to transparency and accountability. These investigations take time, but I want to assure you that we are not hiding, covering up, or taking action that would result in a rush to judgment of Mr. Fortson or our deputy. While it might be difficult to see, there are many questions the investigation must answer before we can determine whether the officer's actions were justified. Again, we are committed to the transparency and look forward to FDLE and the state attorney's report. We are aware of a press release and other comments that falsely state our deputy entered the wrong apartment and imply that they burst through the door into Mr. Fortson's residence. Those statements are inaccurate, as shown on the video that we are about to see. What we do know at this time is that the deputy did announce himself, not once, but twice. Mr. Fortson's comments indicate that he did acknowledge it was law enforcement at the door, and he arrived at the door with a firearm in his hand. The deputy knocked on the correct door. He did not cover the peephole or otherwise obscure its view in any way. Again, I don't share this information to pass judgment. We simply want to assure the community of what is known at this time for the safety of our deputies and for the community. I told Mr. Fortson's family this afternoon that they have my word. If this shooting is found to be unjustified, their son's name will be fully vindicated and justice will be served.
Roger Fortson was a U.S. Airman stationed at Hurlburt Field in Florida. News reports described him as a decorated Air Force Special Operations gunner. His decorations included an air medal with combat device, which signifies missions flown in a war zone and potential acts of heroism. He served aboard an AC-1 of a dedicated airman who bravely served his country in combat that provides close air support to troops on the ground. A prominent civil rights attorney known for representing families in police brutality cases. Crump claims there was a mistaken entry. Pooties, responding to a reported disturbance, possibly noise-related, entered the wrong apartment and encountered Fortson inside. This allegation, if true, suggests a serious error by law enforcement. It raises questions about how the officers identified the apartment and whether proper procedures were followed. The family's lawyer, Ben Crump, alleges that deputies responding to a noise complaint mistakenly entered Fortson's apartment. Law enforcement officials refuse this claim, asserting that the deputy properly identified himself before entering the designated apartment. Experts highlight the dangers of misunderstandings between armed individuals inside a home and law enforcement outside. They emphasizes the importance of proper procedures, particularly confirming the exact location before intervention, to prevent such tragedies. A criminal investigation is underway, with live-streamed evidence and witness accounts likely to play a crucial role. Collaboration among law enforcement, legal experts, and policymakers is crucial to review existing protocols and implement strategies to avoid similar situations involving legal gun owners defending their homes. Taylor stresses the need for a national dialogue and commitment to accountability in American policing to prevent such tragedies from happening again. This raises several critical questions. How did the interaction between Fortson and the officers unfold? Did he respond to their announcements, or was the door opening his only acknowledgement? Why was Fortson armed in his own home? Was it for self-defense, target practice, or another reason altogether? Knowing the context behind the firearm is crucial. What transpired after Fortson opened the door while armed? Understanding the sequence of events is essential to determine if the use of lethal force was justified. The use of lethal force by the deputy is a major point of contention. Investigators need to determine if the sequence of events justified the officer's actions. Some potential explanations based on the limited information. Fortson, living alone, might have felt vulnerable and armed himself upon hearing officers at the door, especially if he wasn't expecting them. It's important to consider that owning a firearm for self-defense within one's own home is legal in many jurisdictions. Understanding Fortson's state of mind and actions is critical for a fair and thorough investigation. The presence of a firearm adds another layer of complexity, and investigators will need to determine if it played a role in the escalation of events. A complete picture will likely emerge as the investigation proceeds, with witness testimonies and potentially body camera footage playing a crucial role. Transparency and accountability are vital in such cases to ensure justice is served. Allegations from the family's lawyer suggest that deputies mistakenly entered the wrong apartment and fatally shot Fortson when they saw him armed. The family asserts that Fortson was legally entitled to possess a firearm in his home. The deputy involved is now on leave, and a criminal investigation into the incident is underway. As details emerge, including live-streamed evidence and witness testimonies, the investigation will delve deeper into the circumstances surrounding Fortson's death. Taylor acknowledges the immense grief felt by Fortson's family and underscores the urgency of finding answers.
Verifying that you have the correct place can alleviate a lot of problems, up to and including the unnecessary death of the inhabitants of those residences. One of the things they're going to do is look at the available evidence. Apparently, this was being FaceTime, so it was streamed live, and so they're going to try and get that information to see what that shows. They're going to talk to the parties involved, all the officers, all the other individuals that were a part of what took place.
Taylor concludes by emphasizing the necessity of cooperation among stakeholders to implement sensible approaches that prevent situations from escalating out of control.
I can tell you that the solutions, they can be easier or harder depending on the cooperation of all the stakeholders involved to coming to, so any parent who loves their child can only feel that same amount of, they can't imagine the kind of a loss that they're feeling. This was an individual who did everything right and ended up unnecessarily killed.
Improving policing in America requires collaborative efforts and a commitment to accountability. This tragedy highlights the complexities of police encounters with armed individuals inside their homes. Experts are calling for a review of law enforcement protocols, particularly regarding accurate identification of locations and de-escalation tactics, to prevent similar situations from turning deadly. The pain suffered by Fortson's family is undeniable. They deserve swift answers and, ultimately, justice. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the need for national dialogue and collaboration between law enforcement, legal experts, and policymakers. Only through a multifaceted approach can we improve policing in America and prevent such tragedies from happening again.